What's up everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about KT and show you a tournament game here where I'm playing KT on Frisian Marshes. So if you don't know, KT is one of the best hybrid civs currently in the game, if not the best one. It is also extremely good on full water maps and people call it absolutely broken. If I was to learn KT, I would learn it for the purpose of learning hybrid. So what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to show you how to play the opener and then how to play around the civ bonuses and get the most out of your civ. So yeah, let's just quickly talk about the map. So this is Frisian Marshes, as you can see. Frisian Marshes, you spawn quite close to your opponent, as you can see. And then you have this pond spawn here where there are these small shoreline fish. Now some people think you shouldn't go for shoreline fish because they suck. And yeah, it's true. It's kind of a low gather rate. It's the same as if your villagers was on berries, but it's still really, really good to expand on docks with KT because your civ natively, I would say, just benefits so much from it. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be playing for the docks. We're going to go for a standard fast feudal opener because what happens a lot of the time when you play KT is people will probably make like 1 or 2 spears, try to take out your docks and prevent that from happening. If you're up against a civ like Lancaster, a lot of the times, well, you're just not going to be able to defend with spears because what are you going to do if they don't make spears? You're going to have spears? You don't want that. You want to get on docks as fast as possible. You want to get your pilgrims out as fast as possible. And so the best sort of, what should I say, rule of thumb with KT, I would say, is unless you're playing full water and you're playing like a hybrid map where you can be contested, just play fast feudal, then make your docks. If you're playing Archipelago, Warring Islands, Boulder Bay, maybe you would just go straight on docks instead. Kazakhstan as well. Like, just go straight on docks and get that food income from the boats much quicker than I'm doing here. This is the safest way to play it, and this is probably the way you will have the most success in the most matchups. By just opening 6 on food, building a house, then mining camp, 2 on gold, and then rest of food until you can H up. And you can H up at about like 212, 210, and you're going to be clicking up at 220. You're going to go with Kingdom of France, and that's going to give you a very nice reduction on gold cost units. And yeah, you're up at a super fast pace, which means you can counter spears if your opponent opens with that. You can make archers. You can go straight into a dock if your opponent didn't open that, if they're greeting as well, and allowing you to play your game. Let's speed up a little bit here. We are now looking at a scouting route here, which is very, unique to this map, Frisian Marshes. We are looking for opponent's sheep, which typically spawn here and over here. And you always have like a 4 spawn and then a couple of 2 spawns in a certain way. It's very fixed spawns. We H up here with the Kingdom of France, which gives us Chevaliers, and it gives us a 50% faster production on military land units and 5% gold cost reduction. So that's really nice. It really makes us, able to spam units much more without needing as many villagers on gold later on. So even though you might not play Chevaliers, you don't have to play Chevaliers because you went into Kingdom of France. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, what it is we do in terms of units. But you don't have to, play Chevaliers all the time. You can just pick this card for the bonus it provides. Just as you would be able to pick Knights Hospitalier if you want civilian units to have more health or more healing, or if you just want the 10% melee damage on units, which I think this one is probably the worst one. This is the second worst one. This can be good against, camel civs. If you're running Spear Archer and then healing a couple of units. Really good against Dervish. Where Chevaliers would be much worse, right? So pretty much just default to Kingdom of France, and then against camel civs, probably you want to play Knights Hospitalier. Now, we have H'd up. Basically what we did was we had 3 in food. And then we had 10 on wood, pretty much. Something like that. And then we took one of our food vills and we built a dock. This dock here will produce 1 fishing ship per shoreline fish. So it's only 1 per each. If you're playing with deep sea fish, it's more depending on the distance between the deep sea fish or the deep water fish or whatever it's called nowadays. It's more or less. So typically between 3 and 4 boats. Here you could just go with 1 on each because eventually it will run out. So you don't need to make more than just 1 for each of these. So, if you want faster food, you make more docks. You don't make more ships, basically, for a pond, right? You don't want to go 6 ships here. You want to go 3 here, and then another 3 over here. We scouted our opponent was going to go manor spam. And so what we're doing is we're just making a bunch of docks, and then we're going to do another couple scans of our opponent's base. Just check out what they're doing. Are they going to make units? in Feudal? If so, this is where the unit composition part comes in. We'll probably go fast castle no matter what, because if they open manors, they're going to be delayed. And if they're delayed, you can probably very quickly get to castle age in about 8 minutes. You can go 2 docks, 3 docks typically, get some shoreline fish that way, and then just go straight to the castle age. If you're up against feudal age units, I really recommend that you go for heavy spears. But if you're up against just a fast castle opponent, then I recommend you play Genoese crossbowmen, because you're going to go into knights anyways. And that means that you just want that extra 30% pilgrim gold. Later on, you can make the Genoese crossbows. It's really strong together with horsemen, because they're good at dealing with spears, for example. But you can also just run knight archer. You don't have to make the commandery units. So, yeah. If you want to know more about the commandery units, I released some pretty cool videos on KT that introduces all of the different bonuses and how to play around them. I will link to that in the description. Alright, so now we're 5 minutes into the game. We're making our 3rd dock. We're getting some more ships, just 1 per pond, as I said. And of course, we need to scout our opponent again. We don't want to fight feudal against Lancaster. That's pretty, self-explanatory. It's a super defensive civ. And the longer that goes, it's fine. I guess we could go more docks and stuff, but I don't think it's the best way. I think the best way is to utilize that tempo that we get from him just playing passive and building manors, and then just going and getting relics. You can play this as well if you're playing on some of the other maps that are in the ranked map pool. I know Frisian Marshes is not a map that's typical for most players to play, but it's just another hybrid map. You could play this on Canal as well. If we have other maps that have a similar, format or whatever you want to call it, layout, with a lot of water and stuff, then, that feels really good as well with KT. So, play KT on water maps and you're always going to have a blast, in my opinion. Here we checked our opponent's stone. We counted that he went more than 300 stones, so we know he's going to go at least 6 manors. You can see that he's on gold. We don't know if he's going to go for the 3rd tier and get 9 manors. We don't know if he's going to be going for Demi-Lancers. We don't know if he's going to go castle. So we need to be really, on point with our scouting. We're checking wood. Okay, looks like it's just going to be more manors then, right? Not necessarily going to be straight into Demi-Lancers, but we never know, right? It could be macroing for it. So now we're going castle. We have built a tower here. Demi-Lancers are not super strong, and we have the gold that we need to get up to feudal age and make the spears if he should go for them. So I think it would be a good move here to go Demi-Lancers. 6 manors into Demi-Lancers. Got my gold off very easily and start harassing my pilgrims and my boats. But he does not do that. He goes 9 manors here in this game. So what we do instead is, instead of going the heavy spearman from the Angevin Empire, we go into Genoa. And we go double stable and monastery. We start taking relics. And then we use the knights to fight for our relics. So this is, what we call the relic phase. Relic phase is always characterized by knights because they're super good in low numbers versus low numbers. If you're up against spears or crossbows, the knights will dominate. If you're up against, a larger amount of crossbows and spears, they won't, of course. So that's why we add archers in that case where our opponents play spears and crossbows. So we have this classic knight archer thing going. We go stable. We go blacksmith because we want ranged armor if we want to go and harass that wood line a bit. We're going to take, ranged damage that way, so it makes sense for us to go for ranged armor. So, yeah, that's something I would go for. Of course, prioritize the monks. Your opponent is still in feudal age. We see this white tower being built. Now, he knows I'm going to come around with these knights here. So he's going to speed that up a bit more. This is a good play. I'm not going to take any damage here because it's not worth it. This will spawn him 3 Earl's Guard. And I think by now we can switch the view here a bit. So we can see the resource income now. We can see that he's on 9 manors. We can see that our income is a lot higher than his. And that's just KT stuff, honestly. Being on these docks here gives you so many resources. We start taking relics. Feels really good. And we just have knights running around dominating. So I was thinking, okay, he's probably going to go and play Knight Archer. Make Demi-Lancers, make knights. But then I thought about it again and realized, yeah, well, White Tower doesn't really say I'm going to play knights. Because you don't get Call of Estes, which is a unique upgrade to King's College. So what does that mean? Well, it means he's probably going to play Spear Crossbow. Or a lot of, these types of melee infantry and ranged infantry units. Could be archers, could be Earl's Guard, whatever, right? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, that actually means I need to make archers. And here we take a good fight against the Demi-Lancers. They're quite weak, and spears and knights are good against them. But my point is, we're not necessarily going to full spam knights and spears, so we're going to go and diversify a bit more. make some archers and deal with them. We raid a bit more, keep him in the base while we're taking the relics. Sending our monks out here. And then once we've taken the relics, we go for the sacred sites. After that, if our opponent's still very passive and we don't have a lot of fighting to do, then we start making fortresses. And this is the key part when you play KT. You want to play around the sacred sites, because that's where your pilgrims are going, and you want to put fortresses out on the map. You want to put fortresses under gold. Here I put it in between the docks, and then later on the sacred site. Later on, my opponent's gold. You know, you can do a lot of really cool stuff with the fortresses because they're not that expensive. Pilgrims give you a lot of extra gold. We're always floating a little bit of gold here. So it feels good to go for fortresses because they're only 600 stone. It's cheap heaps, basically. He pushes out. Spear crossbow. Earl's Guard. It's going to kill this monk here. But yeah, we have a good fight nonetheless. We got the Rule of Templars unique ability here. This gives us +2 damage for each other charging heavy cavalry. So what we can do is we can go and do some good damage here. Get a nice surround. Now, of course, you don't want to charge into the spears too much. So just get close to them and then use the units behind it to get another charge off, and then you won't get braced. And then you can take a very, very good fight like this. This is the key fight. This is the fight that allows us to go out on the map and build fortresses non-stop. If we don't take a fight like this, it's going to be really difficult for us to do that because they will have a lot more units. They will have a lot of units. They can deny the fortresses being built. And so, yeah, you don't want to build too many fortresses because you're sacrificing units. You are getting pilgrims, sure, but you need units as well. Otherwise, you're just going to take bad fights, and then those fortresses aren't going to help you too much against a larger force. A bit of mismove here, but other than that, I think, you know, a good fight like that gives you a lot of, you know, leverage to take more map control. And that's the thing. That's like, you don't need to necessarily play multi-town center every time. You can play fortresses, you can play docks. KT is a super fun civ in that regard. I mean, I'm having the most fun with this strat than I've had in a long while. And it's not because KT's OP necessarily, it's just, once you're up and running, man, it feels so good. Like, it's such a nice civ. There's so many cool bonuses, like we're going to build a fortress here and then a monastery behind it and get treasure towers. That gives us 20% more income from the sacred site and the relics, right? That's a cool bonus. So that's something I want to play for. I'm having fun with this stuff. It's good. Anyways, lots of spears and crossbows. We can speed it up a little bit again. A bit of raiding going on, and we're just taking the map, taking the sacred sites, and we're taking our opponent's gold and pawns. So we're just taking the whole map. We're not trying to ram down our opponent's base because there's 2 keeps here. The way I'm going to kill this guy is just starve him out on gold. So towers in his gold, make it hard for him to get this. Build some fortresses here later on. Take the sacred sites, wall up. You know, it's pretty standard mid-game play now. It's not all in. It's super macro heavy, and you can chill quite a lot when you play this style. It's kind of nice that way. Yeah, getting all the eco upgrades as well. We've got double pilgrim, military academy coming through, walling up. He goes imp, which I'm like, okay, yeah, go imp. That's fine when you have no gold. So all he gets from that is pretty much just spear spam. So we just gotta make some more archers and then go imp ourselves. Then we can get the Slatter cavalry or keep playing Templar brothers. That's also a possibility. And yeah, then we're gonna probably have to get boiling oil. Boiling oil will deal very well with spear spam. I got a bit too late this game, I would say. But other than that, it was pretty alright. So multiple pilgrims now. Every fortress gives us a pilgrim, which is nice. We have a good time. We're just making units, the correct counter comp, archers, spears, and knights. He has a lot of crossbow spears, so you just need a lot of archers. Now he does this nice move here where he's like pulling lots of villagers. He's out of gold. He needs to go. Otherwise, he's not going to get resources. Now look at that income diff. It's 1300 food, 2k gold, 1k wood almost. I mean, it's so much better than 9 mana Lancaster. And yes, that's probably because the save is quite good. So here, I don't really have enough archers. It's something you want to think about when you play this civ. Is a lot of the times you play Knight Archer up against these mass spear crossbow comps, but here's just a lot of units. That's the thing that Lancaster can do. With a low income, they can still spam a lot of spears. So of course you want to be careful about this. We don't finish this fortress because he goes and burns it now. But look at our position. We are double Sacred Site. We have 5 minutes left on that. We've got Monasteries. We should be getting Fanaticism as well. I don't get it this game. I forget about it. But you should get this one as well, because it makes your units super strong if you have Commandery units or Templar Brothers. Now, we don't have any of those units here, so it's probably a good thing I didn't go for it. It's expensive. It's really good to go for if you're running like... yeah, I went Kingdom of Poland, right? But if you went for the Teutonic Order and you started making Teutonic Knights, it's an incredible upgrade to get, because you get... so much more damage on your Templar, your Teutonic Knights. So, get it in that scenario if you're running mass Generis crossbowmen, although what often happens with range units is they just kind of die one shot, so it's good to have it when you have the tanks, so to speak. Now we're making Springholds, because our opponent is so insistent on the spear spamming. Bunch of Springholds. Here we're getting Iron Clamps, so that we take less damage from Gunpowder. This is going to be nice later when he starts spamming Culverins. And yeah, like the game's pretty much, you know, over, I would say. We need to take some more fights here. It can be quite difficult because there's a lot of units. But we try to stick to our high quality army over his low quality army. Now these are archers, so I understand if you think that's low quality. But it's a counter unit, so it's nice. I was surprised to see the Yeoman here. He has synchronized shot on them. It's just a call-in, I believe. I don't think he made any of the Yeomen. Or at least not too many of them. I think that's the call-in, yeah. So, came a little bit out of nowhere. I didn't notice them. And then I took a little bit of a bad fight here. So I'll go back to the fortress. I would have liked to have boiling oil for these two keeps, or fortresses, I should say. And this one as well. Start building a fortress on the other sacred side, because there's a big chance that he's going to switch. Take the best fight I can get. And just have units sitting on the sacred side, and this feels pretty good. Alright. So now we have some of our opponent's docks still. We're just taking the resources. We've mined out all the stone. We have still 1 and 2 stone outcroppings. But yeah, we're just making units. We're still on 1 CC. We're up on about 5 archer rangers and 4 stables. And 2 barracks. And it's... lower. Our income is a bit lower now. We haven't done a full farm transition, so we're working on that. Maybe that should come in a bit earlier. That's the thing with these hybrid maps. Sometimes there's a lot of food, sometimes there isn't. So that's something to keep mindful of. Be mindful of that. You know, sometimes you have a lot of food on the water, and then you don't need to make any farms. Other times you're playing on on a map where food runs out at some point, and then you know you could maybe end up just having no food. And that sucks. You wanna have the farms sort of going somewhat. Not a full farm transition, but like somewhat farms for that. Alright, so here we have our Springholds making those, and we have a bunch of archers. And these archers here are getting the upgrades very soon. They're gonna get incendiary arrows, and of course you should get silk bowstrings to make your archers incredible. I am taking out his culverins. I have some units sitting on the sacred side, so he's not able to capture it. Plus my monks as well. And so yeah. This ends up being the fight I needed. There's 1 minute left in the sacred site timer. And the game is over. So, if you enjoyed this guide / walkthrough of KT on hybrid maps, don't be afraid to like and subscribe. It makes me very happy and helps boost the traction of the video. And yeah, comment if you have any questions, anything you'd like to mention that I missed, or you'd like for me to talk about next. Any video recommendations, whatever you feel like. And yeah, I'll get into that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Peace.